I find this so comical right here. Donald Trump is talking about a third term in office and is saying that there are ways to get it done. That means after he finishes doing another 4 years, and he did 4 years before, he will be a president that served for 8 years. He says there's a way for him to do 12 years and possibly even more. I think that backfired immediately because then came all the memes on social media. Our forever president, Barack Obama, is who we want back. So go ahead, Donald, and make it happen. Because once it happens, they're going to heavily vote to have Barack Obama serve as president of the United States of America again. You got to remember, they're, according to the Constitution, a president can only serve 2 terms, max. You can do it consecutively, which is one behind the other, which Barack Obama did, or you can do it like Donald Trump did. You won once, you lost, you still could do 4 more, you came back, you won, you did it again, as he is doing now. Bring it on. Donald Trump's desire for a third term backfires as a movement for Barack Obama's return gains steam. I'm seeing it all over social media. I was wondering what's going on. The question is, would Barack Obama be up for the task? My answer is, I think he absolutely would. Not because he would want to, but because he would understand the necessity of doing so. America needs him more than ever before. I don't want to hear all the Obama haters on this video in the comment section. That man accomplished more than any other had accomplished, and also was the most charismatic and the most intelligent and the most qualified. Matter of fact, he was overqualified in comparison to all the other presidents before him. Now, let's put that aside and let's get into the information. Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Hey, listen, we do a lot of Jamaican stuff and Caribbean stuff on this channel, but please understand that we were born in Jamaica but raised in the United States of America. So we are deeply entrenched in American culture and America, what is going on, current events, etc., etc. So we switch it up over here. All right. So sometimes we chat patois and we just deal with beer Jamaica things. And then another time we got to switch it back like this and get into American business. This is what we're doing. I just looked at a picture of a MAGA meeting, Make America Great Again, Donald Trump meeting. And there were tons of yellow flags that said, "Don't tread on me," with a snake in the middle. Then there were a lot of Confederate flags. And then there were a lot of swastika Nazi flags. And I thought to myself, how the hell did somebody convince Black people and Hispanics that that was the side that was good for them? The minute I saw all those swastikas right next to those rebel flags, I call them, the Dixie flags, I was out of there. Anyways, everybody is getting their medicine now because Donald Trump is president and he said what he was going to do and they didn't believe him. And now they're finding out it was not in their best interest. So information goes like this. A MAGA congressman has introduced a bill to amend the 22nd Amendment, which prohibits presidents from seeking a third term. Here's a little bit of education for you. It is the 22nd Amendment that prohibits presidents from seeking a third term. So someone from Donald Trump's team is seeking to amend the 22nd Amendment so that presidents can seek more than that amount of terms. All that was missing was Donald Trump declaring that he wanted another 4 years in office. Wow. So it looks like they're pushing it and they're saying that it is doable. Sunday on Meet the Press, Donald Trump hinted that he might just do that. If you were listening long before all this happened, he said that that's what he was going to do. He told the people they would never have to vote again. You know, a lot of people would like me to do that, he said, at Meet the Press. to host Kristen Welker. But I mean, I basically tell them we have a long way to go. You know, it's very early in the administration. And yeah, he's right that people would like it, whether that constitutes a lot, maybe stretching it. But what is your definition of a lot? So, more than 77 million Americans allegedly voted for Donald Trump in 2024. There are a lot of people who are under the impression that that election was rigged by Elon Musk and his techie people, and the presidency was handed to Donald Trump. And that is why you see Elon Musk, who is not an elected official, all up in elected officials' businesses and moving as if the people elected him, because Trump has no choice but to give it to him because he's the one that won him the election. Now, that's what's said out there. End of the day, what's on paper is that 77 million Americans voted for Donald Trump in 2024. Not all of them were Republicans, but most were. And the new Vanderbilt University poll found out that for the first time, more than half of registered Republicans now identify as MAGA voters, which means they're probably ride or die with the famous real estate developer slash president, Donald Trump. So it's safe to say millions would be fine with Donald Trump circumventing the Constitution or, doing his thing to the Constitution in order to stay in office. That's a lot, but not as much as 75 million voters who casted their ballots for Kamala Harris. It's fair to assume a large majority of that bloc would not even consider voting for Trump in 2028. So the final numbers were Trump won the election by 77 million votes, and Kamala Harris still had 75 million votes. You could put it like this. If the Hispanic community knew that mass deportation meant that their tios and tias and abuelos and abuelas were going to be dragged and had to be running from ICE and had to be, TPS, temporary protective status would be removed, etc., they would not have voted on that side. And then there were those who voted independently, which did not make a difference, but did make a difference, if you know what I mean. There were 2 million plus independent votes. So if those votes had swung towards Kamala's side, she would have won this election. She did not lose by a big margin. It's 77 million to 75 million. That's what the numbers came down to. Those are the official numbers now. It's fair to assume that a large majority of those voters who voted, the 75 million who voted for Kamala Harris, if Trump decided to go again for another term, they would absolutely not vote for him, especially with what is going on now. I hope everyone understands that this isn't a drill. One Democratic state lawmaker on X, that used to be Twitter, said, I hope everyone understands that this isn't a drill. This is actually happening. He is serious, and his people will try everything in their power to make this happen, even if they say otherwise right now. That's a warning. Former MSNBC host Keith Olbermann, no, NBC News, you idiots. Trump isn't joking about stealing an unconstitutional third term. He's been deadly serious since November 8th of 2023, when he first mentioned it on this podcast. You clowns were too gullible to notice. And again, that's what I was speaking about earlier when I said he said that before. The whole point of the 22nd Amendment was to keep us from becoming authoritarians, and so that no one person would have that much power, wrote another Trump critic, or another person. Donald Trump is a true wannabe dictator fashion, wants to ignore, just as he likes to ignore laws and basic human decency. the person said. The 22nd Amendment clearly states that no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. Why do you want to change that for your own self in your own favor? You have never rallied for anybody else before, but now that you are in office, you just want you to stay there. I don't think that's going to fly. Bannon, host a popular MAGA podcast, had already endorsed Donald Trump for president in 2028. 2028. And in an interview, he was seen saying, "Don't worry, it's going to happen. You'll see. We have ways of making it happen." Asked recently how Donald Trump will be allowed to seek an unconstitutional third term, he replied, "We'll have a couple of alternatives. Don't worry, you'll see. We'll make it happen." One could be amending the Constitution. One of those alternatives could be amending the Constitution, as Tennessee Republican Congressman Andy Olgus has proposed. His bill would codify Bannon's belief that the third term ban only applies if a president served 2 consecutive terms. So read between the lines right there. He's saying, or they're going to twist the law to say that amendment that says a president is not allowed to get 2 terms, more than 2 terms, only applies to a president who has served 2 consecutive terms back to back, like Barack Obama. But if you served one and then there was a break for somebody else to serve and you served again, then you can go ahead and serve more terms. Such a plan would need to clear several extremely high hurdles, starting with the passing the bill with at least 66.7% of votes on both sides of the House and Senate, which is probably not realistic. Now, Ogle's bill would allow any president to serve a third term if their 2 terms were non-consecutive. In American history, only 2 presidents met that threshold: Donald Trump and Grover Cleveland, who lost his election bid to Benjamin Harrison in 1888, but won a rematch 4 years later. Anthony Michael Crace, a constitutional law professor at Georgia State University, told Newsweek that the idea that Trump can seek a third term is not remotely debatable. On Sunday, Welker asked the president, "Have you been presented with any potential plans that would allow you to serve a third term?" This was a question posed to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump responded and said, "Well, there are plans. There are not plans. There are methods which you could do it, as you know." Welker then asked Trump whether he was serious about the prospect. "Sir, I am hearing you don't like. I am hearing you don't sound like you're joking," Welker said. "I've heard you joke about this a number of times. You don't sound like you're joking." Trump replied, No. I'm not joking. I am not joking, but I am not. It is far too early to think about it. Would you want to serve a third term, sir?" Welker then asked Donald Trump. "Well," Donald Trump said, I like working." By the way, I won't even talk about the 24 million US dollars in taxpayers' money that has been spent so far, only a few months into the presidency, just for the amount of golfing and golf trips that Donald Trump has taken to be on a golf course somewhere, swinging and missing at a golf ball. But we'll get back to this. So Changing the US Constitution isn't exactly a walk in the park, though. It's more like an Olympic obstacle course with a 0.2% success rate. First, Congress has to wrangle a two-thirds majority in both the House and Senate, and then three-fourths of state legislatures, 38 out of the 50, must sign off, or alternatively, three-fourths of state conventions, which has only happened once in history. Now, there's also the mythical constitutional convention route, where two-thirds of states call for a convention to propose changes, but that's never actually been used, probably because no one wants to open that can of worms. With only 27 amendments in over 230 years, the odds of a new one passing are about as slim as Congress agreeing on lunch. Some Democrats suggested that if Donald Trump could seek a third term, then Barack Obama should be able to seek a third term also. If Trump wants to eliminate the 22nd Amendment, I am thrilled. One person wrote, if Trump can run for a third term, then so can President Obama. Game fucking on. Let's go, said another person. And I will definitely support President Obama to run for a third term if this orange man, he didn't say orange man, he used another word that is derogatory, but I won't use it. If this orange man is allowed to run again. Apparently, the 22nd Amendment means nothing anymore to him or his people. I'll say it like this. If it is made so that the 22nd Amendment is amended to say that presidents can serve more than two terms or even get a third term, then it is only fair game that that applies to President Obama as well. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. Do you think that they are going to pull it off to where Donald Trump gets a third term? And or do you think that if he does pull it off to where the 22nd Amendment is amended so that presidents can receive a third term, do you think that President Obama would step back in the ring? And if he did, would you vote for President Obama instead of Donald Trump? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.